Jeff Al Gilbert. Welcome to my gym in my home, and tonight I'm going to talk about how to get paid on no's and losses. And what am I talking about? Just stick around. And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing over 41 years. I started in this business 28 years ago when I was totally broke, bankrupt, sold a junk truck to get started, put $200 into my business. Been full-time ever since and loving it. So I'd like to teach a lot of the principles based on my book, Reaching the Peak, that's on Amazon. If you haven't got it yet and read it, please do so. And I'm going to acknowledge some great people joining, like John in Baltimore. Good evening. How are you, John? Good to see you. And Michael Smith, what's happening, dude? In Texas, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. And John in Salt Lake City. How's the weather out there? You got snow? What's going on? You snow skiing? And Kelly, how are you doing? Kelly in Illinois. How are you doing, Kelly? I imagine it's pretty cold up there this time of year. Further north you go, it seems like it's that way. And then Daisy down in Florida, how are you doing? And Eliezer, good to see you. Don't remember where you live, but welcome. And George from New York City, good to see you. And then we have Davina from West Virginia. All right, man, nice to see you. On the call, and Randy in Indiana. Good to see you, Randy. Marissa, how you been, Marissa? How'd you like that game? Oh, man. And Olinia, where are you at? It's just a joke. She's actually on the other side of my house somewhere. Okay. Let me see who else is joining us tonight. Tonight. And Hadass in Canada, right? Yeah, Marissa says we won. Incredible game. Hey, baby, good to see you. Love you. Incredible game. Wasn't that an incredible game yesterday? And I don't know what happened to Kansas. I really don't. I can't. Never saw anything like it. It didn't look like it was the same team that won the last Super Bowl. So amazing, just amazing. But there's some things that we can learn from it, right? And that's what I think about when I look at someone like Tom Brady. Oh my gosh. And here we have, when people ask me, well, who are you rooting for? Well, hey man, Tom Brady, man, he's almost a senior citizen now, right? He's playing against a kid, right? I mean, I think I read an article that said that the quarterback for Kansas City, he was in kindergarten when Tom went to his first Super Bowl. So, a lot of people thought, okay, he's sort of over the hill a little bit in age and all that. And now you got this young buck and, he's got all that strength and vigor and da-da-da. But I'll tell you what, when you looked at his eyes, man, there was confusion, there was frustration, there was anger. And Tom never, in all the games I've watched him, even when they're doing bad, I never see that in his eyes. He's never looking back thinking, about what happened, what went wrong, what he didn't like about it. He's thinking about, what do we do now? He's always forward looking, always forward looking. What's the next move? What's the next play? The past doesn't really matter. So there's a lot you can learn from these people. They're incredible. They really are. And Tom's an incredible quarterback. And I remember a few Super Bowls ago, I took my son Alexander to it because he just wanted to go to the Super Bowl, the one in Atlanta. And so we went and saw the Patriots. And who were they playing? The Rams? And it was wrong team for the Patriots. It's like they didn't even perform because they didn't have a team to really challenge them. So, but we sat right behind the Patriots and enjoyed that. But what a game last night. And when I think about it, if you get a chance, look it up on YouTube, Tom versus Time. There's a video called Tom versus Time. Very interesting video. It talks about a day in the life with Tom Brady, what he goes through. From the time he wakes up in the morning, what's his routine? What does he do every day? It's Tom versus Time. Very interesting video. But I remember him saying that, if you want me, you want what I have, then get ready to give up your life because I gave up my life for this. Wow. It says it all. It's really true. He is where he is because he is highly disciplined. He's highly disciplined in his diet, his exercise, his, he stays in a routine of practice, always practice. So he's involved. He doesn't disappear from it. So when you think about it, there's a lot we can learn about network marketing from someone like that. Because in this business, that's the way you have to be. If you really want to be successful, you have to have a daily method of operation and you stay with it every day. Stay with it every day. Do you need a prospect? Okay, then you know what you need to be doing. See, just like Tom, he knows what he needs to be doing. Do you need are you weak on follow-up? Okay, then how do you get strong at it? Repetition, repetition. Just do it over and over and over again. But stay on it. Stay on it. Those are the things that we have to do. Prospecting, sponsoring, and then onboarding people. Fundamentals. Mastering the fundamentals is what it's all about. So that's one principle there. But here's the other point too. And I titled this, Getting Paid on No's and Losses. And what I mean by that, in network marketing, how do you get paid on no's and quitters and losses? You might say, well, that's impossible because they're not part of your pay line anymore, right? So how could you get paid on no's and losses and quitters? Well, here was my attitude because I went through all that, went through disappointments, just like Tom lost games, right? He lost Super Bowls before. All right, it's happened. Okay. But the thing is, just as he looks at it he looks at the big picture. Okay, that happened, so there's next year. There's the next season. He looks at the big picture. When I was going through disappointments, losses, and no's, see, I just saw it as part of the job. It was just part of the job, just like with him, it's part of the job. Or if you think about it, a doctor comes, he shows up at work, he's going to get paid for that day, right? He's going to get paid for that day, but he goes through losses. Sometimes people don't show up. He loses income when they don't show up, by the way. But it's different in network marketing. We can learn from those losses. We can learn from even the quitters. Why does somebody quit? What can we learn from that? Was it reasonable? Was it deserving? Some people might quit because the way a company treated them. Some people might quit because of abuse from the upline. Okay. So is it deserving? If it's not deserving, okay, it's not deserving. But if it's deserving, then there's something to do here. How can I get better? How can I make sure that my team is better treated? There's just different things or just totally keeping your upline out of it, away from a team if they are abusive. The thing is, we learn from our losses, but I looked at the big picture. I looked at, 28 years full-time in network marketing. That was the big picture. Okay, no's and losses. I remember after 90 days, I lost some of my top leaders in my third biggest leg. Okay, very, disappointment. We all go through that. But I stayed with it. I worked with people down in that downline that had great potential, and they turned out to be great leaders. But I stayed with it. And then it grew. So now when I look back after 28 years, yes, all of that was part of the money I got earned. I got paid on the no's. I got paid on the losses. I got paid on the quitters because I stayed with it and I learned with it, and I learned how to adapt and work with people, especially people in those lines where those people left, they quit, and they became superstars. So it's just all part of the job. It's all one work. It's all one work. But here's another thing too. I heard some say, well, if the Buccaneers didn't have that defense, Tom wouldn't have done so good. Well, it's so stupid, man. I can remember the Patriots when the defense wasn't that good, and he got sacked before. I mean, he's gotten sacked several times, but I'm just saying. But there's something about defense we learned from that. That gave Tom that space where he knew where to throw that ball and put it. Well, now you think about yourself. What is your defense? Your defense is your attitude. It's your mental posture. It's your personal growth. That's what protects you and gives you that space where you can perform the way you want to perform, to be what you want to be. But that is your defense. Work in that area. Don't neglect that. The one thing you don't want to neglect is you. Attitude is everything. Personal growth. All of that is so important. And here's another thing I got out of that too, is that the coach, the one thing that he allowed Tom to do was also call his own plays. He didn't have that with the Patriots. It was more controlled. But he had that space where he could, the coach would unleash him the way that he wanted to go after a player, go after a game. Be that way with your downline too. How many of you have been in downlines where your upline wants to control you the way you do it? It's my way or the highway. When we can get out of the way of our leaders and unleash them, give them the training and all that, but if they want to do it differently, you just let them go. Don't try to control them. Best thing to do. And if you don't agree with it, you think it's a mistake, okay, that's all right. Let them go get a bloody nose. They'll come back to you. And don't scold them, of course. I know you wouldn't do that, but they learned a lesson. But on the other hand, if they did well, then you learned the lesson, right? That there are different ways to do this business. But I've seen some leaders, man, they want to control their lines, their down lines, and if they don't do it their way, well, then they're blackballed from meetings. I mean, they get really extreme. You will get no support. Unleash your people. Unleash them. And then here's the other principle too, is finding the right players for your team, right? I tell you what, the Buccaneers were tight, man. They were tight everywhere. Offense, defense. I mean, and Gronkowski, man, still at it. What a player, man. Love to, just love his attitude, the smile on his face. His body's been broken several times. He still goes. He still goes. So there's a lesson to be learned too there, is that we need to make sure that we go after a better clientele of leadership. If you want to go to the network marketing Super Bowl, it's going to take a team of great people to do it. Great leaders. We look at so much disruption now because of COVID-19, all these businesses that have been disrupted, people that had secure businesses, now they don't. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking for a different way to do it. And brick and mortar is probably not going to be where they're going to want to go back to anymore. Look at all the riots that we had in the cities last summer. It was crazy. And then COVID on top of it, all the disruption, all the shutdowns. The next generation of millionaires in network marketing will come from this group. But my question to you is, will they be in your downline? Not if you recruit down. If you recruit up, and that is you're looking for a better clientele of leadership, people that you assumed were doing very well, and you still might have that assumption and they're not, or they're struggling, and you may not even know them and they're out there, but you can still find them, and they're struggling. And yes, they're a totally different breed of people when you recruit them, but they're people. Get beyond your fears and just go for it. Talk to them. Look, here's the thing. These are people that are looking for answers. They're open to anything right now. But are you open to it? And are you willing to go after a different group of people, people that have been successful? It's a tendency in our business to go after people who've never been in business and they've never been successful. There's a reason why some people have all the time in the world. Because they don't have a work ethic. They're not driven. That's not what you want. Not if you want to go to the network marketing Super Bowl. So, and you'll find them, because I found them over a period of time. As a matter of fact, when new people joined, that was always the question I would ask somebody. So, who do you know? Who do you know that's ever been successful, has influence, been in network marketing, seems to be very driven, business owner? Who do you know? Get them to open up. Work with your leaders, because some of the best people you're going to recruit are not going to be your direct recruits. It's going to be people you find through people. And then you'll go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you'll have your day. And lastly, the one thing that I really was pleased with was the humility. The owners of the owner of the Buccaneers, how he deflected glory when he was given that trophy, and then he deflected it to the coach, and then when the coach spoke, he deflected it to Tom and the team, and when Tom spoke, Tom deflected it to the team. What a culture. What an incredible culture. It's no wonder they're so successful. So I was just really pleased by that. And that's something we can always learn too, is void ourselves of ego. Let's praise our leaders. I'm not talking about flattery. I'm talking about sincere, genuine appreciation for what our leaders do. Look for it. Sometimes it's we just don't look for it. Sometimes we just take for granted what we have and who's with us, but we can't do that. But we need to look for those fine qualities, what people do, and then compliment them on and praise them for it. And then when we're given that glory, if you were on stage at convention and they were singing your praises and all that, would you be like that? Would you be like the owner of the Buccaneers, or like that coach, or like Tom Brady? Would you deflect it and say, you know what an incredible team I have. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my team. Very important to do that. I know in a previous convention, I have 3 different teams, and they all have 3 different team names. And and that's it. I don't ever try to group them under one name. I don't, because I understand you've got to unleash your leaders and let them go their direction. And I'm all for it. I just sing their praises and support them, and they love me for it. But I remember on stage, calling out all three different team names, and man, people were cheering in the crowds. I mean, 10,000 people at an event, and they were going nuts because I was acknowledging their leaders and their team names, and because that's the way it is. If we do that and deflect the glory, and that's what I was doing, they'll love you for it. They will love you for it and respect you for it. So anyway, great game last night. I was so amazed, and my son owes he owes me $400, by the way. he says, we never shook on it, Dad. We never shook it. And you said no, we never shook it. Anyway, he was telling me how, Tom and the Buccaneers were going to get sacked. And I said, I don't think so. I said, you're going to have experience going against youth. Okay. Watch what happens. And by the way, there's an analogy in that too. That's a metaphor too. Okay. Because when I look at, some of these young people that are, social media rock stars and all that, but most of what they do is not duplicatable. You can't duplicate that. You really can't, because they're spending a lot of money promoting themselves in social media. I'm an organic guy. I always have been. I've always talked to people, reached out to people, developed relationships, worked with those leaders. Hey, who do you know? That kind of thing. Tap rooted, and then built teams. And that's the way I always did it. But yeah, sure, we can spend a lot of money on social media. It's like throwing sand against the wall. Let's see what sticks. And a lot of them, by doing that, sure, they're ranking at their rank, but where will that be a year from now, 2 years from now? Those teams won't be solid. So that's the thing when I look at it, experience versus youth. Sometimes what they call what I do, old school. Oh, really? Show me your new school check and I'll show you my old school check. There's my answer to that. Okay? And by the way, mine is 22 years old. Yeah, that's right. There's value in experience and listening to leaders that have been around. And there's leaders that I like. Richard Brooke, for example. I love Richard. He's been around a long time. I love listening to Richard and other leaders that have been around and have a lot of experience. But that doesn't mean that new people or younger people don't have good ideas. They do. There's value in it all. There's value in it all. But I think what I'm most sensitive about is just making sure that what I can do, the average person can do. If it's going to take somebody with talent, great social media skills, and money behind it, and a technology skill set, if all that's dependent, that's a small percentage out there that are ever going to do well with it. Very small percentage. I want to see anybody who has the heart, the desire, and the willingness to not quit and go through the no's, go through the losses, and learn like I did. Hey, it's all part of the job. And I got paid on it anyway. So I want to thank the people that said no to me. I want to thank the people that quit and the losses I went through, because I learned a lot from it. And it was all part of the job. So those are my thoughts for tonight. Hey, Mindy, good to see you. Those are my thoughts, and hope all of you are doing well. Incredible game, man. And now I got to order. I've got an area in the house when we have parties. That's where I have the bartender. I always serve drinks there. A lot of people like to gather in that area. But I've got Super Bowl helmets all around the bar area. Super Bowl helmets. So guess what helmet I'm going to be ordering this week? The Buccaneers. Can't wait to get it. And who knows, maybe I'll get it signed too. I did that last year with Kansas City. It was the Chiefs. I've got a signed helmet. But anyway, great game. Appreciate all of you guys getting on this evening. Love all of you. And I'll put out some more value this week, tomorrow, and then I'll see you Wednesday. Okay? Love all of you. Take care.